Hello friends. Welcome to Beyond Unknown. Tonight we walk a path paved with shadow and absence, a trail that leads not to a discovery but to a terrifying bottomless void. We are not looking for simple accidents or lost hikers who simply got turned around. We are hunting the threads of truth in the most chilling category of cold cases, unsolved wilderness disappearances. Each case is a complex puzzle, a knot of unanswered questions leaving investigators and loved ones grasping at elusive threads. Tonight we look at 6 individuals who stepped into the wild and simply vanished. We will examine the facts as they are known, and then we will confront the unsettling question. What if the wilderness itself is not the perpetrator but merely the stage for something far stranger? What if a powerful, unified, and utterly alien force is at play in these remote regions? A silent, hungry predator that selects its victims across time and location and pulls them not into the earth but out of our reality entirely. Join me. Let us look and see what terrifying mystery links these desolate locations. Our first case is a recent and deeply disturbing one from the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, the disappearance of 24-year-old Derek Luking from Louisville, Tennessee. On March 15, 2012, Derek failed to show up for his orderly position at Peninsula Hospital, and his roommate Ryan Molden immediately knew something was terribly wrong. Ryan later recalled that when he left, his alarm was going off and went off the entire time I was going to work, and I thought maybe he left and forgot to hit his alarm. Ryan contacted Derek's parents, who made the overnight trip from Virginia. On Derek's computer they found searches for the Great Smoky Mountains and a booking at a microtel in Cherokee, North Carolina. The surveillance footage captured Derek leaving alone at 4 a.m. on Saturday, March 17, with only a small backpack. Inside his room, police found a Bible on the bed and a partially empty liquor bottle on the floor, suggesting a painful internal struggle before his journey began. Later that day, Derek's family found his white Ford Escape parked in the lower lot of Newfound Gap on the state line. The vehicle contained his wallet, keys, and a cryptic note containing the phrase, "Don't look for me." This note, not addressed to anyone, was open to interpretation. Was it a final message or a desperate warning to those who might follow him? Derek was known as an avid follower of extreme outdoorsman Bear Grylls and was highly skilled in survival techniques. He had survival skills and equipment to last, but oddly, he left behind his newly purchased maps and a heavy sleeping bag. He took only a day-pack granola bars, an axe, a Bear Grylls survival tool pack, several pages of a military survival manual, and a headlamp. Park spokesman Molly Shore told the press that Derek might have wanted to live off the land but got in over his head. But here is where the thread phrase and the unknown truly begins. Even though the Newfound Gap area was busier than usual that fateful day, not one person, no hiker, no park employee, could recall seeing Derek enter the park or step onto a trail. This fact is the dark heart of the mystery. He vanishes before he even begins his journey and right in front of witnesses who simply failed to perceive him. Concerns of foul play were amplified when another young man, Michael Caccini, went missing nearby soon after. Caccini was later found deceased, but for Derek Luking there was only silence. Did Derek choose to disappear, or was he the victim of foul play? Or did he step into the precise point of a dimensional distortion, a hidden vortex that aligns with areas of high emotional distress? Was he pulled not into the earth but out of our time stream entirely? The evidence strongly suggests a sudden removal from reality. If you have any information, please contact the National Park Service Investigative Services Branch at 888-653-0009. Next, we journey to Arizona and a disappearance that struck at the heart of the Park Service itself. Paul Braxton Fugate, a 41-year-old National Park Service ranger, went hiking in Chiricahua National Monument on January 13, 1980. Around 2:30 p.m., Ranger Fugate stated he was going to check the trails in the vast, rugged 10,600-acre park. He was in his full uniform, the official arrowhead patch, and a gold ranger badge pinned over his heart. When he failed to return, searchers scoured the area. Footprints found brought brief hope, but they were determined to belong to one of the search personnel. This false hope is a common psychological tactic used by these phenomena to exhaust investigators. Investigators suspected foul play early on because another Park Service employee claimed to have seen Ranger Fugate leaving the park in a pickup truck with 2 unknown men. The employee was put under hypnosis, but the men were never found. Was Fugate abducted by criminals, or did he run into a localized aggressive rupture of reality? The Park Service eventually reversed its initial decision to categorize him as having abandoned his post. They have since increased the reward for information on Ranger Fugate's disappearance to a staggering $60,000. A ranger, a man trained for the wild, vanished from his own jurisdiction right out of his uniform. The final sighting of him with the two men may have been a desperate attempt to cling to the reality he knew before being overcome by something he encountered on the trail. Our third case introduces a highly specific and to some a highly unbelievable element of the paranormal Bigfoot. In Fresno, California, 16-year-old Teresa and Beer met Russell Skip Welch, a 43-year-old neighbor and house painter who had a purported and intense fascination with Sasquatch. Welch claimed multiple personal encounters with the elusive creature for years. On the morning of June 1, 1987, Welch offered Teresa a ride to school. Instead, he drove her to the Base Lake area in the heart of the Sierra Nevada mountains, a known hotspot for strange phenomena. Detective Doug Stokes later learned that Teresa had been seen by witnesses with Welch. She was reportedly excited, telling people they were going to the mountains to look for Bigfoot, a search for the mythical creature. Welch's unoccupied two-door 77 Monte Carlo was found in a remote area near North Fork on June 5. Bizarrely, when authorities returned to check on it several hours later, it was gone. Welch was located at his mother's home and brought in for questioning. Detective Stokes detailed Welch's bizarre claims that he and Teresa had seen Bigfoot several times before. Welch then alleged that while searching for the creature alone, Bigfoot had forcibly taken her, or that she could have left the area with other transient campers. The only evidence found during the search was a purse and some clothing belonging to the teenager, the bare minimum to confirm her presence. Welch was arrested, released, and rearrested, but the charges of abduction were ultimately dropped on a legal technicality. No one was ever tried for Teresa's disappearance. Was Welch a predator who used a cryptid as a twisted excuse for murder? Or in an area known for such phenomena, did their focused search for a legendary creature inadvertently lead them to a place where the veil between worlds is dangerously thin? Did they find more than they were looking for, a gateway disguised as a footprint? The dimensional rift theory suggests the portal operates not only through location but through intense mental focus, a collective energy that summons the unknown. This theory is often used to explain mysterious UFO abductions in our files. Teresa and Beer remains officially missing and is presumed to have met an untimely fate in the Sierras, whether by man or something far stranger and less forgiving. Now we travel back to a different era, one where the paranormal explanations were less common but the mystery was just as deep. Over the 4th of July weekend in 1938, the Bilhars family was camping at Colorado's South Rocky Mountain National Park. 4-year-old Alfred Bilhars was lagging behind his family while walking along a trail to go fishing on July 3rd. Around 8 a.m., his parents noticed he was missing. Over 1,000 searchers scoured the area, diverting streams and even dynamiting beaver dams in the massive effort. Initially, authorities assumed Alfred had drowned or succumbed to the elements. But a small discovery changed the narrative forever. A gauze bandage, which his parents confirmed had been covering Alfred's heel, was discovered approximately a mile from where he disappeared. His father believed Alfred would have pulled it off immediately after being abducted. This single item, a tiny piece of medical linen found so far away, led them to suspect foul play, a sinister abduction. Months later, the family received a horrific, cruel ransom note at their home requesting $500 for Alfred's safe return. The note chillingly stated, "The boy doesn't take to us." A detective on the case later determined the note was a cruel hoax, a sickening piece of human opportunism capitalizing on a far greater unnatural crime. So was Alfred Bilhars abducted and taken by a stranger, or did he drown? Beyond Unknown suggests a parallel to other disappearances. When a person is lost to the dimensional rift, it often leaves behind a small, seemingly insignificant personal item, a glove, a shoe, or in this case a bandage. It is a signature of the abduction, a cold, mocking clue left behind for the searchers to find. Alfred's case remains open, a scar on the history of the Rockies. In July 1971, 8-year-old Douglas Legg of Balve, New York, was camping with his family on a 13,000-acre estate in the rugged terrain of the Adirondack Mountains. Around 3:30 p.m. on July 10, Douglas attempted to follow his uncle into the woods. The uncle instructed him to return to his parents' campsite only 150 yards away via an old logging trail. Douglas was only wearing short pants, a vulnerable target. When he failed to return, a massive ground search ensued consisting of military reservists, National Guard K-9 units, and dive teams. The search lasted for over a month. But the most unsettling quote comes from Environmental Conservation Department officer Sid Mehus. He noted that in all his years of searching there is always a sign, a lost sneaker maybe, or a torn t-shirt. He stressed that here there is none. Think about that for a moment. Not a tear in his short pants, not a sneaker, not a single scratch mark on the trees or a disturbed leaf. An absolute zero of evidence. We have documented numerous cases in our files where individuals, particularly children, vanished in known hot spots of intense paranormal activity. These sites are frequently linked to Skinwalker Ranch-type phenomena or time travel mysteries. The evidence suggests Douglas Legg didn't fall, didn't drown, and wasn't harmed by an animal. He was simply removed from existence. A 150-yard journey in the Adirondacks should have left a trace. The total lack of evidence suggests the dimensional rift was operating at peak efficiency, instantly absorbing him without leaving a single shred of material behind. He was erased from the very moment he was told to turn back. Our final case takes us to the desolate high-altitude landscape of Mount Charleston in southern Nevada. 6-year-old Larry Jeffrey, who was hearing impaired, went missing on May 28, 1966. Larry asked his parents and then his older brothers for permission to climb from the family picnic area to the top of the mountain to see the snow, a childish but determined request. Both times he was denied the simple ascent. Shortly after being denied, Larry disappeared. He was wearing only blue jeans and a short-sleeve shirt, without food or water, a sure recipe for disaster in that extreme environment. Over 800 searchers scoured over 50 square miles of mountainside. The sheriff's office noted that temperatures on the 12,000-foot mountain dropped significantly at night. Crucially, searchers discovered Larry's footprints shortly after they arrived, but they disappeared in loose shale. The tracks suggested Larry was following a straight path toward the summit, not wandering around in circles as a lost child would. He was determined, he had a goal, he was being led. After 12 days, the search was called off based on medical opinion that he could not have survived the extreme cold. Was it exposure or abduction? Beyond Unknown presents the theory of the straight path. The dimensional rift doesn't always take someone randomly. Sometimes it appears that the victim is given a hypnotic compulsion or a mental beacon, often seen in alien abduction reports, to walk toward a certain point. Larry's hearing impairment may have made him more susceptible to these non-auditory mental commands. His straight path toward the cold summit, ignoring the basic human need for safety, suggests he was following something we can't see. Something that led him directly into the cold, silent embrace of the unknown. These 6 unsolved disappearances, separated by decades, states, and circumstances, share an unnerving commonality: a sudden, complete erasure of evidence. Derek Luking vanishes before taking a step. Douglas Legg leaves not a single trace. Paul Fugate is seen driving away in a final frantic image. Teresa and Beer is tied to the fringe mystery of a cryptid. Alfred Bilhars leaves a single item miles from where he was last seen. And Larry Jeffrey walks a straight path toward an impossible destination. Beyond Unknown's unified hypothesis is this: these individuals were not taken by simple predators or forces of nature. They were victims of localized yet highly efficient dimensional rifts. These rifts are not static, they open and close based on geological, energetic, or perhaps even intense human emotional conditions. They are a leak in the fabric of spacetime, capable of snatching a child from a path, a ranger from his duty, or a troubled young man from a parking lot. They leave no forensic evidence because they don't remove the body across the ground, they remove the person across dimensions. These cases serve as stark reminders of the terrifying possibilities that lie beyond the boundaries of our known world. We may never fully understand what happened to those who vanished, but they stand as a chilling reminder. Always respect the wilderness, for you never know what the wilderness respects in return. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the unexplained. What do you think happened? Leave your comments below. Until we meet again, stay safe out there. I'll talk to you next time here on Beyond Unknown.